I'm gonna give you a quick update on my Stromer ST5 experience. Now I've ridden for 8,000 kilometers and I'm gonna share basically the final review of the Stromer ST5 after a decent amount of kilometers and decent amount of changes and adjustments for comfort and other things. Notable changes are tubeless tires, different cassette with a 46 tooth that is compatible with the existing setup, and I put some Victoria airliners inside the tires in case I get a flat, so I can still ride home, because with a heavy e-bike it's a pain in the ass. If you get a flat, you can't just carry it home or take a bus. You can push it, but most likely you're gonna need someone to pick you up. So yeah. So basically I love this bike. It's been very reliable, haven't had any issues besides the ones mentioned in my previous videos. Now it's been going strong for the past thousands of kilometers. I had an accident on a construction site, so I had to change my braking levers. Actually no, it's still the same. You can see some scratch marks here. I had to change. Oh yeah, I just changed the front light because it had some scratches here, but it still worked, but it had some scratches. Yeah, I just had to give it for 2 months to repair because of the damages from the accident. Another notable change is the brakes. This is going to be very interesting. I noticed the brakes are compatible with Shimano Dior brakes, and I replaced them. As you can see, here is the standard TRP brake, and in the rear I'm using the Shimano brake. It's the same hose, just plug and play. Remove this, plug and play. The braking performance is the same, but the brake pads from Shimano, they're actually compatible. The brake pads, I just don't know that from top of my head, but for the Diori, the standard resin pads, they're compatible. And the resin pads, they're so much better. They're absolutely silent. You know, Stromer, they're kind of notorious for squeaky brakes. And I think the biggest issue is the brake pads, because even in the rain, they don't make a single sound. So these Shimano brakes, in my opinion, they're cheaper and they're better. And they also look very cool. Like the gray look it's just amazing. It's also four piston brake. It's great. I'm using Max's Ardent Tires, which is a mountain bike tire, because I go off-road as well. I went with this setup. I went on a trail, which is pretty borderline for a bike like this, but it performed actually surprisingly well with this small amount of travel. But I could go down like a rough trail with like huge rocks, and there was like some sections that I personally don't ride, so I had to push it for a little bit, but it was performing okay for light trails and stuff like that. Absolutely fine. Of course not recommended. You're gonna wear out the bearings inside your wheel. I know I had to replace it already after 5,000 kilometers because I went pretty rough with this bike. But overall, the bike is durable as hell, considering that. And the motor, if you plan on to ride hard, I recommend you go hard or go home, and then you can replace the motor in the in your warranty. But if you want to keep the problem is the motor bearing. The bearing inside the motor cannot be replaced. So if you wear out your motor bearing, you have to replace the motor, which costs around 1,000 or slightly above $1,000 US, which is insane. So if you plan to go mountain biking with this, which you probably aren't, just try. Maybe it was a faulty bearing or something, but after 5 to 6,000 kilometers, I had to replace the bearing, so I had to replace the motor. But it was under warranty because it's a 3-year warranty, so I got a free new motor. And if you replace the motor on warranty, it's another 3 years. So technically, if I go through the bearing every 3 years, I get a free motor for life. But now I'm just gonna. I bought another mountain bike, not an e-bike, because thanks to this bike, I'm in love with mountain biking now. And I really, I like to go mountain biking without a motor. Yeah, these tires they just give me more grip, they give me more confidence. Those are the 2.4-inch Ardent tires. They're e-bike specific. They're actually not tubeless, but they run fine as a tubeless setup. Although they leak a little bit more than regular tubeless tires, so I have to pump these up every week or twice a week to keep the desired pressure. Yeah, the tubeless tires, they have a better bead, so they seal up better. So I thought I was allowed to put any e-bike tires as long as they're like the European norm specified, but in Europe apparently they need to be you're not even allowed to change the tires other than the ones that Stromer gives you. So technically you can't change your tires, which I learned after I put these on. But if I could do it again, I would put the Vittoria like enduro tires, like trail tires. Martello, for example, looks pretty good, and they handle amazing. Like in the corners, they just feel even better than the Pirelli ones, and the Pirelli ones are really great. But just for pure grip, that's just gonna give you much more grip. And also you can run the DT Swiss rims. They are tubeless compatible out of the box with the tape already installed. So you just gotta rip out the tube and make it tubeless. You can also, the standard tire, you can also make it tubeless, but some people have done that. The Pirelli tire made it tubeless, but it's not recommended because it's a bead tire. The bead is not that good, so it's gonna leak probably. And yeah, if these wear out, I'm gonna install the Vittoria regular, maybe even the regular Martello tire or the e-bike specific Martello tire. And I'm running the airliner inside to protect the rims if I get a flat. So even if the tire fail or if I get a puncture, there's zero issue. But I've never gotten a flat. I've run the Pirelli tires at an incredibly high pressure before, and I didn't get a flat, even though I was mountain biking as well. Because with this bike I started out, I had no idea. I ran the pressure of my tires way too high for low rolling resistance, but yeah, it's not great for off-road performance, and it's not great for puncture resistance. But they're sturdy as hell, and they're 1 kilogram, so they're really heavy, up in line with the enduro tires in terms of robustness. So overall, yeah, this bike has been performing absolutely amazing. I use it only for going to work now, and sometimes for nice long bike trips. I'm getting around 120 kilometers of range out of it if I use it on the highest assist mode uphill, and on 0 or the lowest assist mode on the straight. And I could get even more because now I'm riding so much I can manage going uphill like 1,000 kilometers on assist level 1, which I've done before, and it actually is easier than on a regular mountain bike still. So it's great for if you, I mean, look at this bike, it looks very sporty if you're a sporty person. Most people wouldn't use it. Most sporty people would use a regular bike or something else, but this is more for like they're marketing it towards all the rich people who like to, obviously because of the price, who like to go to work with this and use it as their car replacement. I basically take this whole design to heart as a car replacement. I don't have a car. This is my only means of transportation. So this is this is why I can afford this. I could not afford a car now because this bike has been I'm still paying it off actually. I am basically leasing it. I got a loan to buy this bike, and it's absolutely been worth it. I would do it again and again and again, but only if I have a really nice Stromer retailer. So if you don't have access to a Stromer retailer, you're just gonna buy it and move somewhere, yeah, maybe better don't buy it, because they do have some issues. If they run, they run, but they can have an issue, and then you're bound to need to go to the Stromer retailer. So what you can do technically, this is using a regular Cereep Prol DT Swiss Shimano 11-speed hub. You could replace it with a 12-speed hub maybe, because it's a 10mm axle, so you could actually upgrade it to a 12-speed and use the for example the Shimano cassette. What's a great setup would be the Shimano 12-speed cassette and the wireless SRAM axis shifter. I've been thinking about this option, and maybe I will do it in the future once everything is wearing out and I have to replace the cassette. But I replaced the shifter as well recently on warranty, actually on insurance, because of the accident insurance protection, which is great. It also wasn't broken, but it was dented, and the insurance paid for it. So yeah, but yeah, the battery system, it's really nice, so I didn't want to change it because it's brand new. So, and it's performing absolutely amazing, and I wouldn't ever go back to or go to SRAM, because the shifting on Shimano is so much better, even with this older model, the shifting on the reload especially. But I would, the shifter doesn't matter, so you can use the SRAM axis on a Shimano 12-speed, or use if you don't want to change if you just want a plug and play option, you can use the SRAM NX Eagle cassette, which is for the Shimano 11-speed hub, but it's a 12-speed cassette, so you could use the axis shifter with it, and a SRAM chain, and it would work well with the 11-speed front chainring, so that would also be a great setup. Yeah, but again, the brakes, the Shimano brakes that I've replaced the original brakes with, they're cheaper than the original ones. But here as well, I'm running this Shimano resin pad, and they are whisper quiet, not a single noise. So previously in the rain they would squeal a little bit, and also my rear brake started squealing. But now I just bled the brakes. By the way, contaminated everything with oil, because the TRP bleeding system is absolutely horrible in my opinion. Shimano's is much easier to bleed, so at least I could use the Shimano bleed port at the bottom, and I had to use the TRP bleed port on the top. And from the top it leaked all over my front brake and a little bit over my rear brake, so I had to brush it all off with acetone, and I got it to run incredibly quiet. And the brake pads, the Shimano resin brake pads, are, if you like quiet bike, this is amazing. These tires, by the way, they're no longer whisper quiet, obviously, because of the thread. The profile of the tires, they used to be absolutely whisper quiet, but they're no longer are. They're rather loud now, but it's quite a cool sound, so I'm fine with it. I've been slightly dirty, the bike, because it's been raining in the rain the past few days. So the Stromer, yeah, if you haven't seen my previous video, I also installed the dropper post, which is a must for mountain biking. This is also a suspension post, so this can be, with pure pressure, it can be lowered, but yeah, I'm not strong enough with my left hand. But if I sit on it, it's a nice 40 millimeters of suspension, so that's quite nice. Yeah, also previously, I've already talked about this, they replaced the stem on warranty, because the newer 2019 models come with a black handlebar and a slightly different system. There was no need to replace it, but they still did, because they had to replace my frame on warranty because of I've talked about this in my previous videos, but there was one bolt that was shifted sideways, so there's a manufacturing error, so I had to replace my entire frame. So I basically have a completely new bike with 6,000 kilometers, so this 2,000 last kilometers have been with this new setup, and the past maybe 500 ones with these new tires. So this is like very close to the optimal setup that I would, if I had unlimited money, I would get the SRAM axis shifter and the Shimano 12-speed cassette, just for but it's definitely not necessary. On the road, I never use anything else than my highest gear. Not even if I stop on the street, I shift up, or I only shift up if there's a lot of traffic and I want to have a really high acceleration. But if I'm just riding casually, the motor is powerful enough to get you going insanely fast, much faster than you could on a normal bike in a lower gear. So even the highest gear, you don't need anything else basically. But then again, the 12-speed cassette, if it happens to be compatible, I'm not sure, but technically it should be no problem. 12-speed cassette, probably it has a 10 speed 10 tooth rear cassette sprocket, and the 10 speed would be even better in my opinion. This rides close to 50 kilometers per hour, and at that speed it would be nice to have one gear, or like half a gear basically, just one tooth less. That would be actually quite nice. Maybe in the future I'll try to upgrade this, but I've also looked at the wolf tooth option for the derailleur, so you could technically run a 10 to 50 tooth or an 11 to 50 tooth cassette. But yeah, I have installed on a Stromer ST5, on a Stromer ST2 of my father, I've installed an 11 to 50 tooth cassette and a Dior derailleur. And I use the front chainring as it's a 2x, but I'm using it as a 1x only. Removed the front shifter and got an 11x51 cassette in the rear, which is, if you're interested about this, just ask me in the comments and I'll make a video just for you. But that one is the 11 to 50 with a 52 front on the Stromer ST2 that works absolutely great, and it looks so cool because it covers the cassette covers the entire motor, and the silver color and everything it's very cheap. The upgrade is really recommendable. Like the standard Dior shifter is fine, but the standard Shimano XT shifter is fine, but the new 11 to 51 tooth cassette with the Shimano Dior cassette shifter is just so much cooler in my opinion. So that's about it. That's all from me, rambling about my experience. Experience has been great. All I gotta do now is turn these back up, because they're way too flat of an angle, and now it's getting uncomfortable to hold it. So I have to shift the brakes down and this up, so I have a more comfortable riding position. But because I have to change that recently, otherwise it wouldn't be an issue. So I've been doing lots of changes, as you can see. Been experimenting with this bike like crazy. I've installed a dropper post, I've installed new brakes, I've considered installing a new derailleur. Yeah, this is a great bike, but if you want to buy one now, wait, because the new 2021 model will come with a ABS braking system inside of the tube, and it will be a different frame, so sadly it's not retrofittable. It will be slightly thicker. The tube going to here will be slightly thicker to accommodate for the ABS unit. So the new 2021 model will be the brakes will be yellow. That's how you can recognize it, and there will be an ABS system, but other than that it will be exactly the same still. So yeah, if you want the Stromer ST5, wait for 2021 and get the ABS model. It's gonna be the best bike on the market. It still is. No other bike can beat this. It's just so great, but of course it needs to be for your purpose. It needs to fit your purpose. So it's not for everyone, but for me, it's a dream bike. Have a nice day.